Hey, loves. Paula here with the Healed Love Languages. I'm your nurse, your health coach, and your truth telling big sister. Welcome back to part 2 of our series on future faking. If you missed part 1, we talked about the first 3 signs when they talk about tomorrow more than they build today, when they invest just enough to keep you hoping, and when every delay comes with another believable excuse. Today, we're picking up with signs 4 through 7, and I want to remind you this series isn't about encouraging suspicion. It's about encouraging discernment because there's a huge difference. Healthy people sometimes need more time. Healthy people sometimes make mistakes. Future faking isn't about one delayed promise. It's a pattern where promises continually create hope without creating progress so that the other person gets what they want in that moment. Let's continue. Sign number 4. Their words always outrun their actions. Pay attention to this one. Future fakers are often incredible communicators. They know exactly what to say. They tell you, I have never met anyone like you. You're everything I've prayed for. I'm just looking for my person. I know we're going to end up together. I've never cared about someone like this so much. They're beautiful words. But here is the question. What actions are supporting those words? Receiving a text message in the morning saying good morning, thinking about you throughout the day, and a good night at night is not actions. It shows they're thinking about you. Do they have interest in you when it's not convenient for them? Healthy relationships don't require grand speeches. They require consistency. And anyone can promise forever or even tomorrow. How are they showing up today? Character is revealed in what someone repeatedly does today. James 2:17 reminds us, and this applies to friendships and relationships. Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, it is dead. That principle extends beyond faith. For example, if you are a Christian, you believe in Jesus Christ, but you also believe that your sins are going to be forgiven, so you just continue to sin. What action are you showing that you truly are a Christian versus I can go ahead and sin because I'm going to be forgiven? That principle extends beyond faith. Words matter, but actions reveal whether those words are actually being lived. When someone's vocabulary keeps growing, but the relationship doesn't, pay attention. Let's move on to sign number 5. This is the biggest one and probably the most important one to pay attention to and remember, not to be suspicious, but to use discernment. They want the benefits of commitment without making one. These are the guys who will not like or love your photos, who will not comment on your posts on social media because they don't want the other women that they also have on the line finding it because it's very easy to find nowadays. They're not going to be in a commitment with you on social media because they want to keep things private. You know why they want to keep things private? Because there's 4 other that they are talking to is becoming increasingly common. They want your emotional support, your encouragement, your loyalty, your affection, your availability, and sometimes your body, sometimes your money, sometimes your time when it is convenient for them. They hesitate when it's time to define the relationship. Maybe they say, I'm just not ready for labels, or I don't like everybody knowing everything because I'm in the public eye, or why do we have to define everything? Let's just enjoy what we have. Now, sometimes moving slowly, and I will preach this all day long, moving slowly is healthy because it gives you an opportunity to see somebody's actions and their character. In fact, I actually encourage moving slowly for that reason because healthy relationships are never rushed. Moving slowly and moving nowhere are 2 different things. A healthy person may move carefully as you should. A future faker often moves comfortably. What is convenient for them? Because clarity requires commitment and commitment requires sacrifice. Sign number 6, accountability feels like pressure. This is another one that I love. And I laugh because I used to have this guy who actually I've had a few of them. I can't say there's just one, but the most recent one that comes to mind is, why are you putting pressure on me to move this forward? After 6 months and you're still not committing to solely pursue this relationship with just me and you, not four other women, that's not pressure. This one is the biggest difference between someone who's genuinely moving the relationship forward, looking for their person, and someone who's future faking. Eventually, you ask. You said we'd start making plans this year. You told me we'd talk about committing to each other. You mentioned introducing me to your family, and suddenly you are no longer discussing the promise that they made. Another example is a man that started talking to me, reached out to me on Facebook not too long ago, and talked about how they wanted to come to where I'm working now on my current travel assignment as an operating room nurse and take me out to lunch. They couldn't wait to get an hour with me, a day with me, a week, whatever they could get. They would be so happy. 5 weeks later, they still had not followed through on that promise because they were busy. So when they start saying you're putting pressure on them when they're not following through on their promises, you'll start defending why you brought it up because they're going to start asking, why are you pressuring me? You're being selfish. You're overthinking everything. Why can't you just enjoy the relationship where it is right now? Notice what happened. The conversation shifted to you being the problem instead of discussing the progress of the relationship and if it's going anywhere. They are discussing your expectations. Healthy accountability invites conversation. It invites difficult conversations. Future faking often turns accountability into conflict every single time. Sign number 7. They keep you emotionally invested while keeping their options open. I did this for years, off and on with a man for 4 years who was not someone I should have even invested 24 hours in all seriousness. And I say this because he did some really nasty things and my self-esteem wasn't in the place that it needed to be. So had it been, I would have never dated him. Obvious. I can give my part of this story and where I attributed to allowing him to continue to treat me that way because I didn't love myself. So when they say that you need to love yourself first, you really, really do. Otherwise, you will tolerate a lot of behaviors that you wouldn't tolerate when you love yourself. Fast forward years later, this person's current spouse reached out to me recently and they are actually abusing them physically. So I am glad that I was able to get away from that situation and can look back now and see where I really needed to learn to love myself first. But okay, so we'll get back to it because you know I'd love to get off topic. They keep you emotionally invested while keeping their options open. And this one hurts. It hurts when you are investing your heart, when you are not looking at the relationship as transactional. If you have somebody future faking with you, more than likely they are not investing their heart and they are not looking for love. They are not looking for their person. They are telling that to you so they can get what they want. This situationship is transactional. It is not a true healthy relationship. So it's going to hurt you because it often doesn't look obvious. Maybe they don't want to post pictures together because they don't want the other four women or the one that they're holding out that they hope will accept them one day. They don't want to post pictures together. Maybe they'll say, I'm just a private person, or sometimes that's absolutely true. They could be very private, but privacy isn't the issue. Secrecy is two totally different things. Ask yourself, do they keep flirting online? Do they continually seek attention from other women? Do they leave doors open with exes? This is a huge red flag. Do you catch them in lies consistently? And then do they try to turn that around on you, saying that you're crazy because you can catch them in their lies, in their secrecy, not in their privacy? Do they enjoy collecting admiration? Do they avoid publicly choosing you while privately asking for your loyalty? Healthy love chooses both private and in public, not in secret, but in private and in public. It doesn't keep people on the bench just in case. Why do people future fake? I really want to talk about this because it can be confusing. Again, you really think that they are just pursuing you. But here's why they future fake. And we're going to take a step back because understanding behavior isn't the same as excusing it. Not everyone future fakes intentionally. Some people genuinely believe the promises they're making. They're optimistic, impulsive, emotionally immature, while others need constant admiration. The future becomes another way to keep someone emotionally invested. Psychologists often talk about intermittent reinforcement. And I've talked about this in one of my other podcasts. It's one of the strongest ways human beings become attached. You receive just enough attention, just enough affection, just enough hope that you keep believing tomorrow will finally be different. It's the same when you gamble. It's the same psychological principle that makes it so addictive. The relationship, the future hope, and the gambling. The next jackpot always feels one pull away. Future faking can create a similar emotional cycle, not because relationships are games and they never should be. If somebody's playing games with you, inconsistent rewards often create stronger emotional attachment than consistent ones. It's sad that we have to admit this to ourselves, but it does. It all relates back to childhood trauma and what you were taught. People say all the time, oh, that was 25 years ago. Yeah, it was 25 years ago, but it is still affecting you to this day. So let's provide a little humor here because you know I always like to bring a little cheesy humor into these serious podcasts of mine that you're listening to. And yes, they're serious. Yes, they're deep, but there's always a little bit humor to be found. Have you ever noticed future fakers can plan your retirement before they can plan next Saturday? They're already picking out the beach house, named the dog, talked about the grandchildren, but somehow making dinner plans for next week becomes complicated because they're what? Too busy. In closing, of part two here, I want you to remember something. The goal isn't to become suspicious of everyone who talks about the future. The goal is to become wise enough to notice when words consistently outrun actions because healthy relationships don't require perfect timing. They require honest movement. Next time, we're covering the final three signs why childhood wounds can make us vulnerable to future fakers, what scripture teaches us about discernment, and how to stop confusing potential with evidence. Until then, heal, choose better, love better, and remember promises may inspire hope, but consistent actions build trust. If you want to read more on this or find other resources for healthy relationships and how you can show up healthy in a relationship, also how you can see where God is leading you to that healthy relationship, you can find those resources on my website at paulalobsn.com. I am so happy that you listened in today. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your healing journey. It has been an extremely long road for me and for me to be able to use my research that I've done to help improve myself, to find the person that it is God has for me and not the person that I want for myself, because that is the main goal here. I pray that your healing takes you in the same direction. And I thank you so much for being here and trusting me. Bye, loves.